Hello, and thank you for joining the webinar for the Aeronautical Engineering Mechanical National Final. This is all to prepare you and give you some thoughts to take forward. I'm Jonah Jones, and I'm the manager for the WorldSkills National Competition to be held at the NEC.
I'm Martin Yates. I'm the International Training Manager for Aircraft. I just want to say well done to everyone who has gone through to the national finals this year, and good luck with your preparation and your competition. And we're going to talk more about that
now. Yes, obviously, well done for getting to where you are now. And this is aimed at the national finalists who will be moving forward. The things you'll need to know is basic aircraft knowledge. So we want you to be working on aircraft and not something else. You'll also need to understand and be able to look through and interpret technical drawings, and they're from various angles and obviously to various understandings. You also need to be able to work with your hands, cutting metal, shaping metal, bending metal and riveting. It's on aluminium, by the way. Also, you need to be able to correctly set flight control cables. We will also be carrying out pre-flight checks. You may understand it as an after flight or a before flight or a turnaround. For the purposes of the competition, we call it pre-flight checks or a daily inspection. You need to be able to walk through that systematically and just be able to report it. Also, you need to be able to remove and refit aircraft components, and that become apparent as we go through the actual tasks itself. Also of importance is understanding and having a good knowledge of a hydraulic system. Although on the PowerPoint slide it says electrical wiring knowledge, I'll let Martin explain that.
Yes, electrical wiring knowledge, that's not actually competed at national competition, which is what of course we're talking about here. But ultimately, when we go forward to international, and I'll talk more about that later in the presentation, but in the international stage, then we will do some training as electrical wiring is one of the test projects internationally.
Okay, so what are the actual skills we're going to test at Birmingham at the NEC? Spoke about it briefly earlier. We're going to carry out a daily inspection or a pre-flight check, as you may understand it. This is something you need to, and you probably do quite often without realising it, on all things that you go about. Don't worry about the actual aircraft type. It's all about the process and following a set procedure. This year we have a helicopter. Even though you may never worked on a helicopter or possibly never seen one close up, you will get all the required information prior to actually starting the task. It's the method that you go around doing the daily inspection that is being tested. You'll also be asked to design, that's design and draw, build and test a hydraulic circuit. This is on a platform that is quite easy to see. It's a see-through platform, so we can see all the valves and other such things working, so it becomes easier for you to understand, hopefully. And if you've never worked on a hydraulic circuit, then you'll find this quite an exciting challenge. We also have an engine which will require boroscoping, and once you've boroscoped it, there'll be a requirement to carry out a little bit of blade blending. And that's obviously a bit of filing, a bit of accuracy, in fact a lot of accuracy, and working within tolerances. We also have a simulated flight and control system, which is where you can check out powered flying control removal and refit, and then of course rigging. And the rigging is also checked during the flying control rigging, which this year will be on a helicopter, and a Gazelle is the particular helicopter we'll be looking at on that. The sheet metal hand skills will involve you producing, shaping, filing, cutting to size, drilling holes, deburring, and hopefully putting it all together with rivets.
Okay, so you're probably thinking now, what do I need to do in order to prepare myself in the best way between now and the actual competition at the skills show? So sent to the organising partner, they will send out a competition manual that will go out to all competitors um, that have successfully got through the heats. And there's a lot of fantastic information within that competition manual. I do recommend you give it a good read. There's some good tips that we've learned over the years on how to maximise both your mental preparation and your skill preparation. Also, there's some links within there, the WorldSkillsUK.org, the SEMTA websites, where again there's access to good material, for example, the competition rules. So talking about competition rules, have a good read of those before you get to the competition itself. This will give you an indication of what's expected of you, and equally, of course, what you expect of the organisers and the judges. And so, like anything, if you go there prepared and knowledgeable, it will make your time easier, and you'll come up to your best potential much quicker. When you actually start the test project, the competition piece, you'll be given a written competition brief. Now, of course, at this point, you're going to be very nervous. You're going to be excited. Your mind is going to be racing away with, let's get started now. So what you've got to try and do is control those nerves. You've got to try and keep in control of your motion, your physical ability, your mental ability. And so a recommendation to you is read the competition brief twice. Like anything, if we're reading something when we're nervous, we will read it, but we won't actually absorb any information. So read it the second time. This will allow your mind to slow down slightly, get into context of what's being asked. And of course, you can ask the judges questions during that competition brief. Anything you don't understand, ask them to explain it to you. Now, as you already know, having done the heats, all the competition aspects are against the clock. And you'll know during the brief how long you've got to do that task. So it's important that throughout that task you manage your time efficiently. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you didn't realise already, you will now realise that everything you do at the competition is worth points. From the moment you start the competition aspect to the moment you tidy up and put tools away, everything you've done is worth points. So if a task is valued at 2 hours, you need to start thinking, where should I be at the 1 hour point? Where should I be at the 1 hour 30 point? And you may find that you need to move on from an aspect that you're struggling with because there's still points to be gained later on in the competition. So how to prepare for that? Do a task at work or at college, get your college lecturer, your supervisor, line manager to observe you, perhaps even film you and give you feedback on how well you prepared and you managed that clock. I'd have a clock or a watch or whatever you want to use. Keep on track in terms of that time scale and be aware that it's your decision whether to move forwards or not. There are some online toolkits available for you, again through the WorldSkillsUK.org website. Have a look at that. And finally, in addition to what's in the competition manual that SEMTA will send, is arrive at the competition in a timely manner. So what that means then is that once you've got booked in to your hotel and you've done all the travel, you need to get to the competition site in good time. Good time for you to relax, get yourself ready, get your working overalls on or your working dress, get your ear defenders, safety glasses, etc. You don't want to arrive there with minutes to spare. You want to give yourself plenty of time so you can get up to speed, have a good night's sleep, and be ready each day as a fresh day.
Of course, this webinar only covers some of the aspects of what you need to prepare for. And if you have further questions that you think of after the webinar, on this particular slide you can see the various contact details. Obviously there's mine at the top, there's SEMTA, and then there's WorldSkills UK at the lower part of the page. So why? Benefits for you guys. Let's be honest, it's going to raise your profile within your organisation. It's going to put your head above the parapet. It's going to give you a chance to shine and showcase your talent, your technical ability and your hand skills. It also gives you a chance to develop the opportunities through various technical advice that you'll receive from training or from the leading experts of the various multinational companies that are involved with the skill show. And also it gives you a chance to celebrate, a chance to realise your achievements and how well you've done. The opportunity to benchmark your skills against other people from other companies or other peers from other areas within the UK.
So Jonah's talked about some very good benefits for you people as competitors. I want to go through some of the benefits for the organisation, whether the organisation is your college or your employer, it could be a fairly small organisation, or it could be a large national or indeed international organisation. As you can imagine, if you put yourself in your boss's shoes, director's shoes, chief exec's shoes, think what they're thinking as you now represent that college or that organisation, that company, as you compete at the skills show. Imagine how they can maximise the fact that one of their employees or one of their trainees, one of their apprentices is now competing at the national show. That's fantastic in itself. And of course, as you go forward, and for those of you that get to earn the medal, be it the bronze, silver, or gold, again, this would just can only raise the organisation's profile. Within the commercial world, it's important for organisations to compete, to be competitive, to attract good new apprentices, good new employees, and all of that organisation's profile and reputation is enhanced by you visiting the skills show as a competitor and ultimately going on to win the competition. Of course, as you come back from the competition, from the skills show, you will have had a fantastic experience. Make no doubts about it. You will come back massively energized, massively motivated, learn a tremendous amount during your training, learn a tremendous amount at the actual skills show. And so when you come back to your workplace, you will, whether you realize it or not, you will be sharing that energy and you will aid the motivation and inspiration of your fellow colleagues, the workforce and the wider team within that organisation. And that can only be a good thing because, of course, what it's doing is you're demonstrating your expertise in your particular field. So I'm going to hand over to Jonah now to talk about the last part.
Okay, so how does it benefit all the staff within your organisation? No matter how big, how small, you all have tea breaks, you all have a chat, you all tell your stories and so on and so forth. But if you've had this experience and somebody else in the crew hasn't, you've got a better story to tell. You've got some chance to inspire other people to go forward and to give them a chance to have a go maybe next year, the following year, so on and so forth. But it increases your employability because you've had that knowledge, you've had that journey, and you're enjoying the well-deserved praise that you've got from getting there. It provides an opportunity for you to develop some extra technical skills, and more importantly, some of the personal skills that you may not realise that you'll develop. Your interaction with other people, and perhaps even with the CEO when they're celebrating your success. Obviously, it'll further the whole of the workforce because what you do and what you're successful in will help, obviously, your organisation, yourself, and them to promote themselves. And that in itself will instill pride and a real sense of achievement in your personal self. So therefore, you're raising your aspirations and you realise that you are the best.
Okay, you now have some time set aside for questions. So please, if you want to type your question in, then Jonah and I will answer that as those questions come in.
We have a couple of questions that are already pre-written, pre-scripted for possibly to save you if you have any questions and perhaps you target the answers you already are searching for. Is there any training before the actual skills show? Yes, there is training, and that will happen probably towards the end of October, and that training will be held over a sort of 2-day period. It's good to see that we've had a question come in. When will we receive the competition manual? The should be received, or you should be getting receipt of it early next week.
Okay, a question that's come in before is, do I organise my own travel? Yes, you do need to organise your own travel, whether that's car or train, and that's all part, if you like, of preparing for the competition. And of course, not just in organising your own travel, you need to organise any equipment you need to bring with you, your personal protective equipment like eye specs, ear defenders, safety shoes, etc. However, accommodation, the travel, your expenses will be reimbursed through the SEMT, the organising partner, so do not worry about that aspect.
Will accommodation be provided? Of course, accommodation will be provided, along with an evening meal and breakfast prior to you heading to the NEC. During your time at the NEC, there are times within the timetable where you'll get fed and you'll be able to go off and have a warm drink or a cold drink if that's what you prefer. So yes, accommodation will be sorted for you, and also you'll hear about that via emails to the designated emails that you've given us.
Okay, we've also been asked in the past, so what happens on familiarisation? What happens when we first arrive at the competition site? So, of course, as you arrive at the NEC, you need to register and get to your accommodation. You then come on to the NEC, onto the skills stand. You'll be met by SEMTA. They'll go through your accreditation, your entry passes, and you'll then be taken to the Aeronautical skills stand. At that point, you'll meet Joan and I and the other judges, and we will go through the mandatory health and safety arrival brief. We'll show you around the stand in terms of where the room is for you to get changed, your own personal locker to store equipment, where you could have a break, where you could have water, all that type of thing. Once we've gone through that, then Jonah will go through a comprehensive brief of what the competition is about, some of which we've already covered on this webinar, and what the test projects are. We will then allow you to go to the various skill test projects within your stand and meet the judges, and they will again take you through in a bit more detail of what is going to happen within that actual skill area. So, for example, we talked about the daily inspection on the aircraft. So you then gain access to the aircraft. The judge looking after the aircraft will take you around it. He'll point out various important parts of it, and he'll give you an indication then of what's required. Of course, when you go around any of these competition areas, you can ask whatever questions you wish, and the judge will answer them as best he can. If your question is starting to get into the detail of the actual competition piece, then the judge, of course, will say, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. But on the basis that there's no harm in asking, I recommend that you do exactly that, you ask those questions. The purpose of familiarisation is literally that, is so that you become familiar, you know where the competition stand is within the NEC. It's a big hall, there's a lot of competitions going, so it's right from understanding where you need to go, where you need to book in, how it works, where your test projects are, and of course, importantly, the timetable, which Jonah will talk through with you when you arrive on your familiarisation brief, and when you're actually going to compete on every piece of that competition aspect. Hopefully, at the end of familiarisation, you now have a greater understanding of what's happening within your particular skill stand. So you know that when you turn up on day one of the competition, you know exactly what time you're competing at and which competition stand you need to be at first.
I think something that you also need to be aware of is when you arrive at the NEC, up until that point when you walk through them doors, you probably think, oh, this is okay, this is all right, we're going here. You'll suddenly then be like a rabbit with the headlights on your eyes. You'll see the size of the competition, you'll see a number of other competitors all walking around being very, very surprised at how big it is. And this is why the familiarisation is so important, because the nerves are up, your excitement's up, and so on and so forth. And The familiarisation is really there to try and bring you back down, prepare you, make sure you're in the right mindset for competing on the first day of competition. But please, like Martin says, ask as many questions as you can, because there's no dumb question.
Okay, so we just had a question come through, which is saying, does making it to the top 3 in the NEC event ensure a place in the Nationals? Now, just to try and make sure I understand what the question is asking, of course you're already at the Nationals, and there will be 8 plus 1 of you, so a total of 9 competing at those Nationals. Thank you, just corrected, it's internationals. So at the Nationals, as I said, you're already there, and you're looking for the gold, the silver and the bronze. So 8 of you competing, those what you're looking for in terms of national. But as the question has asked, mechanical does feed into what we call squad selection for international. And so what we'll be looking for then is the top 5. So the top 5 places out of those 9 competitors will be offered an opportunity, subject to age eligibility, for the international squad. This is the international squad that will train for Abu Dhabi in 2017. So in the year 2017, as long as you don't reach the age of 25 before the competition starts in October, then you would be age eligible. So if you get into that top 5, so you might arguably get 4th place or 5th place. You not get a medal at national, but still get invited into the WorldSkills UK international squad. And at that point, I would then get involved, have a good talk with you, and explain what the next steps are. This is probably not the right place to go into detail, because we're focusing on the national. But in answer to your question, it's the top 5, subject to age eligibility.
Thank you for that, Martin. It's a very good, clear answer for David and Alex. We also had a question previously regarding the closing ceremony. Obviously, we're going to work hard, and you are going to be working hard throughout the time within the competition. And we really do actively encourage you to make sure you attend the closing ceremony, because it's a celebration of the guys you've been working with over the last 3 days. In fact, other training days beforehand. And you get a chance to perhaps get a medal, but if not, you get a chance to celebrate and enjoy and see all the other skills that have worked hard to receive a medal as well. And once that part of the ceremony is over, there's a bit of a party, and that's always good to enjoy yourself and let your hair down. And we encourage you genuinely to stay overnight for that one, because there may be alcohol involved.
Thank you, Joe. So just sort of going on really from the closing ceremony, we get asked, can friends and family attend the closing ceremony? Of course they can. They go onto the WorldSkills.org site, the skills show, and you can apply for tickets. They're free of charge to the closing ceremony, and indeed you can apply tickets to come and watch any part of the competition, or indeed for your parents and friends just to wander around the skills show and see the other skills that are being competed in. So yes, if your parents, friends want to attend, by all means, it'd be fantastic. It's a tremendous closing ceremony, as Jonas explained, and there's a lot of excitement occurring at that time. So get online, put your application in, and the tickets are available for your friends and family.
Really, that's sort of bringing us along towards the end of this session, unless there are any more questions that are coming in. Trying to lip read is not very good at the moment. Somebody the other side of here.
So I think, thank you very much, David and Alex, for taking part in this webinar. What I would say is this will go out by the internet for other people to view. And of course, you guys can have another look at it again and pick pointers up from it. I think, to reiterate really, fantastically well done for getting through those heats. That is definitely the first hurdle. And then, as Jonah has mentioned already, there will be some additional training offered to you We'll get some details and exact dates of that when that does occur, but it's quite close to the actual finals itself. So it's placed in a good timeline. So we'll do some additional training, focus on some mental activity, focus on some of your skills. And we found in the past that that's worked very well, where competitors are then more likely to achieve their full potential at the competition. And so, I look forward to seeing you guys and all the others at the skills show this year at the competition. And as I said, all of those that have been successfully offered places at the national from the heats, there will be some extra training offered to you.
But it's something you should celebrate, something you should embrace, something you need to look forward to. And it really is a fantastic, we call it a week, but it's a little bit less than a week. But it is a fantastic week. You'll meet new people, you'll make new friends, you'll learn new skills, and at the end of it, you'll come out hopefully with a gold.
For those that have not been to the skills show before, and again, we've had this question in the past, can parents and friends attend? Absolutely. The skills show offers a tremendous opportunity for people to see what vocational skills may be something that they're interested in. If they're at college or the final years of school, what do I do when I've left? Where do I go? Come to the skills show. There's around about 75,000 people will go through that show during the competition time, and there won't be a better chance to see all those skills being competed in. What does that mean for people that are actually competing? Well, it means a lot of people are going to be watching you. A lot of people are going to be taking pictures of you. Is that worrying? Well, it sounds like it should be, but actually it isn't. Because once you start competing, you'll get so focused and so in the zone that you won't actually be aware of what's happening the other side of that barrier. And that's a good thing. So when I said you do preparation, you do some training beforehand, and you're at your college or at your workplace, get people to watch you, get colleagues to watch you, get them to film you so that you can see how you competed, how you did that work in your college or your organisation. And that will go a little tiny way to give you an idea of what it's like to do work with lots of people watching.
Also, when you're doing that work, if you're used to doing wire locking or you're not used to doing wire locking, practice it, practice it, and practice it. The same with split pinning and other such items, because all of these are skills that will be tested during the skills show. And in particular, the safety aspects of when you're doing it as well.
Okay, I think
we're about there.
Yeah.
There's no further questions that have come through, so from myself, I thank you very much for taking part today. I hope you've had some more information, but as we said earlier, there are websites, phone numbers and email addresses if you wish to ask any further questions later.
Thank you, John. And I look forward to seeing you guys, David and Alex, and all the others at the skills shows this year, and good luck to you all. Thank you.